Hey guys, and welcome to a pretty damn awesome game. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, and today with a showcase and a showdown between the forces of Kislev, a very cool colour scheme and emblem on them, taking on the other manlins, the weaker of the empires. If you ask anyone in Kislev, that is going to be Grand Cathay, and this is going to be a really cool showcase of a spell that certainly doesn't get enough love. Let's delve into this. For the forces of Kislev, we have a load of horse archers, looks like 4 units. I'm getting some serious PTSD to Warhammer 2 skirmish builds right now. They can certainly do a decent number. Not the greatest skirmish cavalry in the world, but in the current lack of skirmishing world in Warhammer 3, they're pretty damn awesome. We also have some heavy war sleds, definitely my favourite of the war sleds, maybe not so in competitive, but they are really quite fun to use, and they look very badass. We also have some Zargard in the centre, doesn't look like we have the Regiment of Renown here, just the 2 basic ones, incredibly durable, and I think quite a good pick up against Grand Cathay in general. We do also have the Griffin Legion. They look fantastic as always. They're actually kind of like the elite of the Winged Lancers, which is really awesome. And they should be able to go toe-to-toe with Jade Lancers, any of the Grand Cathay cavalry in general, and hopefully push into the back line as well. We've then got a bucket ton of Corsairs. It looks like they're going to be the basic ones. We don't really need spears in this matchup, considering we already have the cavalry superiority, and they're just to make up numbers and slowly pull apart the enemy. Leading the March of the Tsar Guard is going to be the Mad Chad himself, Constantine, or Constantine, however you want to say his name, and he's got that flaming mace with him, looking very vicious indeed. He has the Lullaby to heal up nearby troops, as well as Tor's very own Battle Hymn. He's going to be chanting those, trying to drive his troops into a blood-curdling frenzy. More importantly, though, we have the Frost Maiden of Tempest, coming in with 2 pretty cool spells. So oh god, if we can find her hidden amongst the troops. She has Hailstorm, very cheap, cost-effective, basically Seer and Doom style spell. Then we have a Blizzard. A Blizzard is a spell I've not seen many people bring whatsoever. Hawks and Mishka is far more often picked due to the fact it gives that Discourage. We'll have to see how Blizzard performs here. It can do some really good damage. I think it got buffed in the latest big patch. That's it for the forces of Kislev. We won't go over Cathay quite so much in detail there, but basically, load of Peasant Longswimmen and Jade Warriors are going to make up the majority of that front battle line. In the centre, we do have the Dune Dragons, reminiscent of the mighty desert planet. They're going to be, pretty unforgiving and stalwart in nature, looking to hold the line for as long as physically possible. We then have a Grand Cannon in the centre, once again protected by Peasant Longspearmen, and then we have Jade Lancers in the back, who are going to have to go toe-to-toe with Griffin Legion. Don't think that's going to go too well for the boys. We have an Astromancer in the centre. We also have another Grand Cannon and a Dragon-Blooded Lord. Dragon-Blooded Lords just seem to be the way to go these days. Often in the early days, we saw a lot of Miao Ying and her brother and so on, but at the moment, it really is all about these bad boys. But he is bringing the Yang magic, which is slightly less often seen, coming in with Dragon Breath as well as Jade Shield. Should be a really good fun game. I'm so excited to showcase what Blizzard can actually do. But yeah, the forces of Kislev are rather wisely going to approach going through the trees here, which I like this quite a bit. And of course, they know the territory of Kislev better than anyone, and the snowy plains certainly will suit their army. Horse archers move forward, going for a little bit of a skirmish. They may be a little bit scared, of course, approaching a massive army, but they know they have the fleet of foot of their horses to get them out of danger. And there's not really that much to trouble them. No archers, no crossbowmen and the like. There is some cannons, of course, which are rather scary, but if cannons are shooting horse archers, the force of Kislev will be happy. They poke down a bit of the Peasant Longswimmen, probably trying to get close enough to assassinate the Grand Cannon crews, which would be an amazing pickup for them. But they are forced back with the appearance of the Jade Lancers coming through the trees. Kislev is now getting into position. You can see the heavy war sleds starting to push forward eagerly, and the Jade Lancers, they're floating out to the flanks, doing a little bit of exploration, pushing forward and starting to get into dangerous territory. They need to be careful. The Griffin Legion really will dumpster them rather comfortably. Grand Cannons are opening up. Luckily, the trees of Kislev shall protect the Kislev troops. It's almost as if nature is on their side. Horse archers are going to start moving around the flanks, and it looks like likewise are the Griffin Legion, who did manage to catch out some Jade Lancers who very swiftly decide to retreat. Can they cross this lake? They can! This is awesome stuff. I didn't realize this. So the horse archer is going to skirt across the water. I guess it's not that deep, and the horses can push forward. The forces of Grand Cathay continue to reorganize. We have big cannon shots going in, connecting with the heavy war sleds, and we are going to get our first engagement perhaps of the battle. The Griffin Legion are allowed to charge the Jade Lancers, which is a really, really big mistake from the Jade Lancers. Oh my god, look at the size of the horse difference. The Jade Lancers are so much smaller than the Griffin Legion, who are ripping and tearing aggressively into the enemy cavalry. Now, if you're a heavy cav, you don't really want to be stuck in an engagement, but if you're stuck against someone, it might as well be against other cavalry, so your horses aren't getting hamstringed and so on. Horse Archer is actually going to commit to a melee fight here to overwhelm the enemy. In the center of the battlefield, looks like the Cossars are now opening up fire into the Jade Warriors, doing some pretty solid damage all round. Grand Cannons are starting to retaliate pretty aggressively. Heavy war sleds may be dead here before they even make the front line. They are currently on fire. That's not a good place to be. And here we're going to see Blizzard for the first time in the battle. And look how ridiculous amounts of damage this can cause. A beautiful vortex of ice swirling around the Doom Dragons. They're raising their shields in an attempt to protect themselves, and they are being nuked down way below half HP here, nearly down to about a third HP. That is some insane value got there from that Glorious Tempest cast, up to 49 kills already, and as you can see, 1,000 gold value off the one cast. In the back, we do have the Griffin Legion re-attacking Jade Lancers, which is good to see. Horse Archers have been able to pull some Peasant Longswimmen out of position, and now starting to reave into the back line, looking to shut down the enemy Grand Cannons. And the Griffin Legion are really delving deep into the Jade Lancers right now. We're getting a real nasty breath attack go down the line on the Cossars. They're getting healed up, though, by their Liege Lord, and it does seem like the Dragonblade Lord is quite far behind enemy territory. Jade Warriors do get the Jade Shield popped on them, but a light war sled bounds into the flank of them. The bear cares little for your petty magics. They will simply rip and tear until there is nothing left. And it looks like they've been healed up as well. Still 4 models, not shabby whatsoever. Backline is an absolute mess right now for Grand Cathay. You can see the Griffin Legion have sorted out one of the cannons. Actually, I don't think they got there. I think it was the archers, which is a really nice push here by Papa Palpatine, who's in charge of the Kislev forces. Horse Archers are also peppering down at the Grand Cannons, looking to take them out the game. Lovely, a big breath attack does come in, however, from the Dragon-Blooded Lord of Yang Magic, with some big fire damage to the Cossars in the back here. Wherever we look, there is Jade Lancers, and wherever they look, there is going to be a Griffin Legion. Although Griffin Legion in the distance have found themselves in a rather naughty situation. They will be able to beat back these Jade Lancers. Unfortunately for them, though, the Peasant Longswimmen are poking at their horses, making them rear up and toss the riders off of them, which they're not going to enjoy whatsoever. They're such a badass unit. I really love the look of the Griffin Legion. They've got some cool lore behind them as well. It looks like we're about to see a second blizzard come down. This one, oh no, it's a hailstorm. Okay, that makes more sense. But as I say, it's coming down on Peasant Longswimmen, not the most valuable target, but really nice damage there. I think Tempest Magic certainly very underrated. Cossars doing a fantastic job peppering down the enemy cavalry as well as infantry as it gets bogged in with the bucket tons of elite infantry, the Tsar Guard, who are doing a fantastic job. In the back, we do have a fight of Tsar Guard up against the Doom Dragons, which is pretty awesome to see. The Doom Dragons do call upon the fury of the dragons to help protect them. I don't think it's going to be enough. The Tsar Guard are really doing a fantastic job decapitating and slicing and dicing at the Doom Dragon Guards. Although they're putting up a pretty solid fight. You can see they've made a wall of dead horses to hide behind and try to keep their opponents at bay. There's a lot of spearmen nearby for support. Griffin Legion's done a good job here, finishing off Jade Warriors as well as Peasant Longswimmen, and are going to ride hard through the waters back towards the main battlefield, where we can see Cossars have surrounded the Dragonblade Lord, looking to drag them low. Very hotly contested fight here in the trees. The Jade Warriors are carving their way through Cossars, despite the fact they have a absolute bear fanatic next to them trying to support the homies, and the Frost Maiden as well. Plus 40 melee attack is going to turn her into a bit of a world beater briefly. She's done a good job all day, though. Been very impressed, up to 97 kills so far, but is very surrounded. Another blizzard coming in on this kind of clump of enemy troops would be absolutely clutch right about now. Jade Warriors are going to force back the Griffin Legion, who are constantly having to dart and bob, weave in between the mass amount of units, which we still have left on display. We also are going to get a Jade Shield go down on the Jade Warriors. We really need a big Tempest Strike there to be doing so much deadly damage. Looks like Grand Cannon crew is on the way back. Horse Archers are kiting against Jade Lancers. A fair trade for both players there. And Zargard not quite able to finish off the Dune Dragons, actually. 29 models still alive, but it looks like they are instead going to push onto the Grand Cannon. We do have another Hailstorm. I wish it was kind of the big spell here, but nonetheless, it seems to get the job done. Jade Lancers as well as Peasant Longspearmen are being forced back here by the might and fury of this religious fanatic right here. In the distance, Griffin Legion are bouncing around. Looks like they're actually on their way to come save their Horse Archer allies. They're using the blinding sun's reflection off the lake to cover their approach as they charge forward. One last horseman gives them a cheeky wave as she retreats, and now the Griffin Legion clatter into the side of the Jade Lancers. And just look at the difference. These are war horses of Kislev, bred to fight and bite enemy horses, rear up, smash them, trample armored troops. They have one purpose, and that purpose is destruction. Looks like they're going to quite comfortably beat back the Jade Lancers, or are they? Because the Jade Shield goes down, giving them 44% damage resistance. It's going to help them out considerably here. Lovely play coming in by the Grand Cathay player. Yet another Hailstorm does come down, doing solid damage to the Jade Warriors, who are forced away into the clutches of the Zargard. And both Zargard units are still relatively healthy for the later stages of a battle like this. They're doing a pretty solid job, it must be said, carving their way through the enemy. I love some of the models in this game. They're doing a really decent job here. You can see we do have the Dragonblood Lord in the mix, going toe-to-toe with the enemy spellcaster. We have the Ice Maiden up against the Dragon-Blooded Lord. Hero to a Lord, it's going to be a good fight, particularly when we have the bad boy in here as well, buffing up troops. And the Zargard now coming with 76 melee attack, I think that said, which is absolutely absurd stuff. And another Ice Hailstorm coming down, doing some really decent damage to the Jade Warriors. But likewise, though the Kislev are trying to freeze out Grand Cathay warming them up a little bit with some Dragon's Breath on the Zargard, doing a decent job, but Dragon's Breath won't do as much to Zargard as it would unarmored troops. The Horse Archers continue to pepper the enemy where possible. We do have some forces coming back into action in the form of Jade Lancers and Peasant Longspearmen, but not a bucket ton. Where are those Griffin Legion? It looks like they're still locked in the lance fighting with the enemy Jade Lancers here. They are finally able to beat them back, and I've been very impressed with the Griffin Legion. Certainly one of my favorite units in the game. 1,000 gold value. Very underrated early on, and they did get a buff as well, and they're still a little underappreciated, but look how fantastic they are. They're so awesome in their kind of golden or bronze armor, the huge war horses. It's everything you want to see charging towards you on a wet, rainy day. It looks like in the middle, the Zargard are just continuing to beat back tides of Cathay forces. They've been fighting so long, many of their blades are broken. They've been using their shields as weapons, using their helmets to clobber the enemy, or simply their bare fists. They will fight no matter what, particularly when they have such a devoted leader leading them back to back with the Frost Maiden. What a dream team this is, as ice rains from the sky as Mother Kislev itself raises up its vicious head to try to slam down and beat back the interlopers, which are Grand Cathay. We have Peasant Longspearmen on approach, a big fat unit as well, 142 troops, but I don't know, the Zargard with their leaders getting these buffs is looking really good for Kislev. Likewise, we have Griffin Legion who can return. Horse Archers, cackling and kiting. Looks like they've been taken off fire at will, so they're simply baits now to the Jade Lancers where possible. Griffin Legion are now on their approach back to the main battlefield, and I think they just need to get to grips, hold out with the Zargard. Yet more magic going to be coming down from this Frost Maiden. She's been a real MVP so far, at least it would seem from what I've gathered on the battlefield. She's got up to 246 kills, probably only at 250 by the time this game ends. Very impressive work and a good day for her. Zargard continuing to hold the line though. They do get annihilated by Crane Gunners, and I think Crane Gunners are certainly a unit you want to take up against Kislev, particularly because Kislev struggle to take down enemy back line. That's one reason armies like Cathay can struggle, particularly in domination, is Furies are so amazing at shutting down the back line. It's quite hard to use such units as the Crane Gunners. But against Kislev, they don't have the luxury of having such good units to shut down your back line. Zargard are driving away the Peasant Longspearmen, who are about to get, unfortunately, embroidered in yet another hailstorm coming down. Army losses kick in, though, and it looks like the mighty forces of Kislev were victorious. Very well played to Papa Palpatine, leading his forces of Kislev. up against Grand Cathay. Hopefully the audio was all good in this replay. I'm talking a little bit quieter today because it is only 12:30 at night, and I believe my housemate has gone to bed. So I want to get this cast done quickly, but hopefully not too loudly, because I'm training someone tomorrow, so I won't have time necessarily to do the video then. Well played, honestly, a really awesome game. The Frost Maiden of Tempest, 2,360 gold value. 265 kills, 1,000 of that gold value, nearly half of her value came from that one spell early on, and it's not one we see terribly often, the Blizzard really being dragged in, ripping and tearing into Grand Cathay. Just doing a fantastic job, and anytime someone plays well with Griffin Legion, I'm always going to be tempted to cast it because they're some of my favourite units. The Zargard as well, holding the line, and look at the kills, the butchery they performed on the citizens of Grand Cathay will not soon be forgotten. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a really good fun one to cast. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and if you guys did as well, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up, and if you're new around here or haven't yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We are on the way to 10,000. It gives you guys a heads up when my videos are coming out, and it massively supports the channel. Feel free to comment down below what you thought of the battle, what you'd like to see in the future, or simply yell quack at me. There's a load of links in the description to Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. Discord is where you can submit replays to get them cast on the channel, get involved in tournaments, live streams, and all that good stuff. We may well have a tournament actually this Tuesday. It may be a closed invitation, although I'm not fully sure yet. We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, you can do that via Patreon or by becoming a member here on YouTube. There should be a little button down below. Massive shout out to all my Patreons and members who keep the channel going. Until next time, guys, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.